We're taking another look at Catalyst of Power today. Hi. Catalyst of Power. See, the idea that came from Carlos Castaneda was that you could slap, using the wizard's blow, the shaman's blow, somebody on their assemblage point and access a whole nother state of conscious. So Dr. Well wanted to check this out. Now, when they were going to come out with this book, The Shaman's Blow, which one of them got blocked by Carlos. He didn't want this information coming out. But then he died, so it didn't make a fuck what he wanted anymore. These are some of the findings that they found when they did studies on the assemblage point and its alignment. Let's have a look.
Intimidation, worry, overwork, insomnia, cocaine, LSD,
Meanwhile, this is the
amphetamines,
sunset.
antidepressants, and excessive caffeine can
Cocaine.
drive the stationary assemblage
She'll
point to the
take
far
you
right.
out.
In this
Out
position,
and
various
about,
physical symptoms
cocaine.
medically connected with stress will appear.
Shift you to
Energy
right.
demands are high and sleep
Make
will be
you act
problematic.
right all
High beta
night.
frequency brain activity is present.
She don't
The attention
ride,
is
she
external
don't
and the
ride,
awareness of the
she
physical
don't
body is attenuated.
ride.
Locations further to the right cause psychotic behavior that can include violence and sexual deviations.
Definitely violent.
Left brain energy will be high, right brain low.
Funny shit.
From this position, drugs, illness, or emotional trauma can cause complete exhaustion of the nervous system. The assemblage point then drops
Yeah,
down
little
towards
sunset.
the critical line as shown in
Sunset
figure
for you.
1.11.
Oh, beautiful
M.
sunset.
E is a disease with this location. The
west
assemblage point
is
always
the
entering the
best.
patient from a low angle up through the liver.
West.
Shifting the assemblage point to the center will give immediate relief. Regular shifting will recondition the nervous system back to normal, thus reducing or removing the patient's dependence on drugs.
Where are those?
Figure 1.11. Assemblage point shift below, right side.
We'll observe it.
Hypotension,
Nonetheless.
hypertension.
See?
Critical line. Extrovert psychosis,
Right there.
introvert psychosis.
Sunset.
The dangers of the
We'll
shift
have the
below.
trees will paint me some
This is a
happy-
dangerous, uncomfortable, and distressing location. The indications are very low mental and physical energy with acute psychological instability and physiological disturbances.
You are a light donut. A donut of light.
That's how I feel.
You're a figure 8 of light. Deal
At the
with
end
it.
of my world,
Impaired functions of endocrine glands and organs may
you
develop.
take me to be
Frontal
lost
brain
with
energy
her in
will
front
be
of
low.
God and all this
From this
here.
location, it is virtually impossible to
All this
recover
we don't
without
know
realignment of the assemblage point. As the assemblage point's rear location or
God
pivot
damn.
point drops down from the shoulder blade area, muscular coordination becomes affected. Case 5. Feeling of detachment from body, low energy, anxiety and depression. Tony S., age 24, April 1997. Tony had been ill for 8 years. He complained of feeling detached from his body, anxious, depressed and having no energy. This condition had started when he first began work at 15 and he had been unable to work for the past several years. He had attended a psychiatrist, psychologist and hypnotherapist. He had also tried acupuncture, healers and a psychoanalyst, throughout
That's
which
a
time he
badly built
reported
bitch.
that his condition had got worse. It required 5 attempts to successfully shift his assemblage point up, from the ME location just below the liver. Tony required 3 more corrections over a 2-month period, during which he made steady progress to recovery. With this location, serious psychiatric or physical illness will often be present. Diseases associated are autoimmune disease syndrome, AIDS, cancer, meningitis, cerebral thrombosis, apoplexy, clinical depression, postnatal depression, myalgic encephalomyelitis, ME syndrome, and multiple sclerosis, MS syndrome. As the assemblage point moves towards the critical line, the symptoms become worse. Beta activity will mostly be absent. Distressing feelings and emotions are prevalent. Sympathy, placation or chastisement do not help. toxic material, heavy metals, chemotherapy drugs, poisoning, head injury, drugs, attempted suicide, solvent abuse, violent intimidation, physical shock, electric shock, long-term exposure to strong electromagnetic and high-voltage electrostatic fields, anoxia, infections and disease can drive the assemblage point to this location. Antidepressants will not correct this location. Shifting the location up and over to the center will immediately alleviate the symptoms. Vibrational levels will increase and more energy will be available even if physiological disease is present. The natural healing process will accelerate. The trap of the shift to the left. Irrational preoccupation with daydreaming, fantasy, hallucinations and melancholia are the most common indicators for this location. LSD and other hallucinogenic drugs can cause a shift to the left, or in any direction. Pseudo-religious cult brainwashing methods unconsciously shift the location to the left side, figure 1.12.
A little bit of cult.
Case 6, agoraphobia and clinical depression. Mr. N.O. aged 32, September 1989. This man, a professional sculptor and artist in the film and television industry, had not attended work for over a year.
Why?
He had developed agoraphobia after ingesting a quantity of LSD at a party. After the effects of the drug had worn off, he became increasingly distressed with work and traveling on the Underground Railway to London. He was signed off sick by his doctor and attended psychiatric therapy. His situation continued to deteriorate and he spent most of his days dreaming and making drawings of strange science fiction situations in black ink. He attended for assemblage point correction at the suggestion of one of his friends. Examination revealed that his assemblage point was on the left side of his chest. His assemblage point was moved to the right side of his chest and he attended for several more monthly corrections.
See, he was fucked.
He eventually made a full recovery back to his former. Figure 1.12. Assemblage point shift to the left. Hypotension, hypertension. Critical line. Extrovert psychosis, introvert psychosis. Health and activities. Locations on the extreme left side are associated with visions and experiences of spirituality, religion and God. If the location of the shift is minimal, the results are explained as fantasies of the mind. If the shift is considerable, the results are called hallucinations. Shifting the assemblage point to right of the center will return behavior to normal. It will increase left brain energy, beta frequencies and rationality. Senile dementia, autism, Down syndrome and coma are examples where the location will be around the area shown in figure 1.13.
Down syndrome.
In the early stages of these diseases, regular checks and correction of the assemblage point may slow the progress. Astute doctors and clinicians will in future reverse these diseases by combining assemblage point realignment with other therapies. For energy medicine treatment of senile dementia and autism, see Chapter 7. The missing link to the limitations of Western medicine. In the womb, the fetus is assembled via the umbilical cord and the assemblage point of the unborn child is at the navel. With birth, the cord is severed and the baby's assemblage point moves upwards from the navel to the chest area.
That's not going to work.
Over the course of the first 7 years of our life, the stationary assemblage point moves up the center line from the navel and becomes situated in a predetermined. Figure 1.13. Assemblage point shift below, left side.
It's me.
Hypotension,
How
hypertension.
dare you?
Critical line.
I'm all
Extrovert
fucking
psychosis, introvert psychosis.
Give me my fucking shit. Help!
Positioned somewhere in the right chest area. Just below the navel is an aperture caused prior to birth by the umbilical cord. It is a naturally weak area in the field called the gap. Death occurs instantaneously when the assemblage point drops to below the navel, causing the body's quantum and atomic energy field to collapse. While the assemblage point is above the navel line, death cannot occur. Preventing the assemblage point from dropping to the gap will postpone death. The human spirit departs from the body at the precise moment at which the assemblage point traverses the navel meridian line. The assemblage point is the missing energy link connecting the human soul with the physical body. This connection is absent in the current Western medical model.
Just not
Many
there.
of the current dilemmas and criticisms
What
which
is
Western
this?
medicine are now experiencing
Hippie
can be
bullshit?
easily resolved with stringent application of assemblage point diagnosis and correction
You can
procedures.
also move it with a laser.
Not only are the assemblage point diagnostics
Green
and
laser.
correction principles applicable
If you
to
have the
mental and
green
physical
laser.
disease, but central
It will
location
get
can
some
also
point
dramatically
back up.
improve mental and physical
It will
efficiency.
follow the green laser.
This
or the
induces
magnet
stable and efficient states
Or
of
the
well-being
magnet.
which are very desirable.
and green laser.
In the future, greater public awareness of the assemblage point will have profound beneficial reverberations for financial, social, and political health on a global basis. 7
Very
rules of
powerful
the
rules.
assemblage point. 1. At the physical, emotional, atomic, and quantum levels, a human being is an independent oscillating energy field. All oscillating energy fields, by virtue of the fact that they are oscillating, must have an epicenter or vortex of the rotation. The epicenter of the human energy field is called the assemblage point. 2.
Give me that
The location
spoon.
and entry angle of the assemblage point with respect to the physical body
Give me that
dictates the
dip.
shape and distribution of the human energy, as does disease. 3. The shape and distribution of the human energy field are directly proportional to the biological energy and activity of the organs and glands in the physical body, and the quality of the emotional
You
energy.
understand?
4. The
Do you
biological
understand?
activity of the organs and glands determines the
agree?
position of the
We
assemblage
get
point
it.
and thus the shape and distribution of biological energy throughout the physical body. 5. The location and entry angle of the assemblage point has a direct influence over the biological activity of all of the organs and glands, including the brain, and these have a direct influence on the location of the assemblage point. 6. The location and entry angle of the assemblage point regulates how we feel and behave. Disease also dictates the assemblage point location and entry angle. 7. For better or worse, manipulation.
For my viewers who want to check this out, they're in depression over here, which would be about this area of the chest. Now I'm backwards though, so it would actually be over here if you were looking at me correctly. But this is not the back. This is the front. Because Fantasies was a left shift. Okay? That goes inside. Introvert. So you see this? Introvert is the left side. Extrovert. So an introvert activity is fantasy. Extrovert is panic, anxiety, anger. Whereas if you're an introvert, you just be apathetic. I don't care about anything. I don't care about nothing. Fuck it. They'd be like, fuck it. So you're going to, look, if you want to move that, get a crystal about this big. This is what it tells you to do. Try to get these big motherfuckers out here. That thick around. Like a fucking nice, medium-sized cock. And what you do is you put pressure on it. And you breathe in 3 times. And you have to touch the top of your palate up here. When you breathe out the last time, that's when you put the pressure on it, because that's when you're going to move it. You exhale, but before you do, you touch the top of your tongue to your tip. Now you're holding it where it's at, off. You feel fucked up, depressed, it's off to the side. Capture it there. When you're breathing in and you're squeezing, you're capturing it. But when you exhale all your air out and you touch the top of the palate, you're making it able to move. That's when you move it at that time. And then you set it where it is. You take another deep breath, of which you will take 3. But at the time, you tap your head 1, 2, 3. Stop it from moving. So you bring it back up to the midline center. That's what it says to do. You can do that. It works. I've done it. So now I'm telling you. So rock on. Go crazy on you.